The WWF was a loud, proud, swaggering, money-making beast in 1999. Being honest though, Monday Night Raw didn't exactly have a lot to offer in terms of actual matches that year. Put simply, for everything the company did absolutely right in 99, there was something else they really didn't. And that's just one of the things we learned after choosing to binge watch this year in the era of Attitude. Want a few more? Well, I'm Gareth, this is What Culture Wrestling, and here are 10 things you learn binge watching every WWE Raw from 1999. Number 10, WrestleMania 15 was the real end of an era. Post WrestleMania 15, everything started to change. The fabled Austin vs. McMahon story did rage on throughout much of 1999, but it wasn't the only focus in WWF minds. It becomes clear with each passing episode of Raw that Triple H was beginning to take center stage as the future. Also, the company was starting to run out of ideas. They'd done the beer bath, the fake gun angle, the constant stunners, and even a cage match between Vince and Stone Cold in February. Come the traditional post-Mania lull, they were fresh out of new material that had helped the bread-winning feud soar to new heights. That's presumably why the feud took a dip in quality and started to desperately clutch at straws to remain relevant. It starts to become apparent by summer that Austin vs. McMahon needed to encroach on other hot angles to stay near the top of the booking sheets. Oh, and speaking of which, number 9, the higher power sucked.
It was me, Austin. It was me all along, Austin.
Those iconic words live long in the memories of wrestling fans worldwide. But the weird revisionist high-fiving for Vince McMahon's greater/higher power reveal masks something few really want to admit. It absolutely sucked. No word of a lie, this blew big stinking chunks. Fans in attendance treated McMahon's nonsensical 7th of June swerve as a colossal wet fart. He went from playing the borderline sympathetic victim of the Undertaker's satanic magic to pulling the damn strings. And people were not ready for that. It was the kind of gotcha moment Vince Russo was hammered for booking in WCW later that year. Russo was still in the WWF then, so he must have had something to do with how this reveal played out. Looking back, somebody probably should have popped a hand up and asked if McMahon was the right fit. Yes, he was a major character, but his announcement just did not work. Number 8, they had no idea how to book Big Show. WWE has sort of admitted that Big Show struggled during his first 12 months in the Fed over the years. Paul White's weight gain and lack of motivation are often pointed out with an accusing finger, but that was only ever half the battle. His booking was also quite questionable. After debuting at Feb's St. Valentine's Day Massacre pay-per-view, Show wandered around without a ring name for a while. His mini-feud heading into WrestleMania 15 with Mankind went nowhere, and so did his part in the dreadful union with Foley, Ken Shamrock, and Test come spring. Make no mistake, Show's first year was a shambles. He didn't live up to his potential or billing, formed a weird tag team with The Undertaker called the Unholy Alliance, and then ended 1999 with one of the worst WWF title reigns of the era. Great start. Things would get a bit better for old Show over the years though, so I want to know what your favourite Big Show moment of all time is. Probably not one from 99, but you let me know what is in the comment section below. Number 7, Chris Jericho's debut could have been better. Raw is Jericho, baby! It has always amazed this guy right here when fans point to Chris Jericho's WWF debut as one of the most amazing things in wrestling history. Sure, he became big news, but the ex-WCW mid-carder visibly toiled when trying to match The Rock on the mic. Plus, his boo-boo facial expressions made Y2J look like a scolded poodle. Jericho himself was upfront and honest about the problems with his company bow in print. He expressed regret for those facials in his first and second book, and said he definitely could have done more to appear like the WWF's next big thing. Of course, he did become a smash hit in the end, but those first few appearances weren't exactly all that promising. His 9th of August debut remains a curious piece of company lore, and yet it could have been so much better. Honestly, just go back and watch it. You'll get goosebumps when the video counts down, and enjoy that wonderful crowd pop that follows. But you'll probably cringe your way through everything else. Number 6, This Is Your Life will never be topped. The This Is Your Life banter between Mankind and The Rock was so damn endearing that WWE tried to repeat the trick several times over the next 20 years. They even wheeled Mick Foley out to trade some jokes with John Cena in 2011, and had Alexa Bliss do some memory lane strolling for Bayley in 2017. Neither of these sequels could match the original though. It is fascinating to watch this 27th of September 99 segment back 25 years on. 25! Oh, do you feel sick yet? If only because the improvised laugh shared by Foley and Rock threatened to derail the entire thing. Arguably, it is a little too long, sure, but This Is Your Life is still some ride in 2024. It's even funnier to know that Vince McMahon was tearing his finely coiffed hair out behind the scenes and frantically rewriting Raw's format when these guys ran over the their allotted time by a mile. Totally worth it though. Thanks for stopping by to watch this 99 Raw experience today. Now go and tap on that subscribe button down below for more of this What Culture Wrestling stuff in your day. Number 5, the Vegas wedding is super awkward. Now, you're not going to see a ton of complaints about how things haven't aged well here. That's pretty obvious, right? The world was a much different place in 1999, and the WWF were happy to push the envelope by producing weekly shocks that relied on sex, bad language, blood, and more soap opera tropes than you could shake a stick at. Even so, that Vegas wedding between Triple H and Stephanie McMahon was, eek. Things might not be so bad had Trips darted off to pastures new a few years later, or if Steph was some short-lived diva and wasn't Vince McMahon's own daughter. That didn't happen though, and she is. So this drug-induced informal drive-through ceremony is super awkward to relive today. It's not like WWE can readily acknowledge how the power couple began, is it? Triple H drugged Stephanie, married her under Daddy Dearest nose, and Test, who was largely forgotten about shortly thereafter, and was treated like the babyface for doing it. Remember the 29th of November, it seems. Number 4, there were 4 WWF title changes on Raw. The WWF title changed hands a grand total of 3 times on Raw between 1993 and 1998. Then the swift booking style practiced since 1997 hastened further into 99. That year, the same belt switched holder another 4 times in 12 months on the flagship program. Raw is pay-per-view? Apparently. Mankind was first up by bagging the belt on the 4th of January episode, which was actually taped on the 29th of December, but still counts due to the air date. The Rock was next up and beat Foley in a ladder match on the 15th of February episode. Then Steve Austin toppled The Undertaker on the 28th of June, and finally Triple H earned a run by beating Mankind on the 23rd of August. Oh, and the top prize was also vacated on the 20th of September following Vince McMahon's brief stint. His random title win meant that the WWF booked no less than 5 title switches on free TV alone in 1999. They'd slow that roll by penning only 3 more title changes over the next 3 to 4 years. But they had to, really. The belt was becoming a hot potato. Number 3, Vince McMahon's title reign should not have happened. Now this was rubbish. WCW detractors often giggle at Vince Russo booking himself as world champion in 2000, and rightly so. However, staunch WWE loyalists also ignore the fact that Vince McMahon actually played that card before Russo had the chance. It wasn't as offensively terrible, sure, but it wasn't exactly great either. McMahon won the WWF title from Triple H on the 16th of September 99 episode of SmackDown. Come Raw the following Monday though, Vince decided to vacate the belt so others could scrap for it in a 6-pack challenge at Unforgiven. Why? Well, who knows? The whole thing was ridiculously pointless. A Mr. McMahon title reign might have worked had it been longer or a little earlier. After all, the disgraced former boss did work matches when the occasion called for it, and he was once one of the top heel characters in late 90s wrestling. This short spell as a champ though, it was definitely a mistake in retrospect. Number 2, The Undertaker needed a rest. Behold the face of a man who could do with a rest. By 1999, The Undertaker was noticeably going through burnout. He'd been a near constant on WWF telly since debuting in 1990, aside from a little sabbatical in 94, and had worked through several injuries to help maintain the roster's star power. All that had taken a toll on the guy, and it showed. You could probably count the number of legitimately good matches Taker had in 1999 on one hand, and his tweaked satanic gimmick had also gone as far as it could. The company burned through a lot of material with the Ministry of Darkness, Corporate Ministry, his tag team with Big Show, and more. It was time for a break. Despite starring in several memorable moments of the era, including that weird symbol business, his wacky abduction of Stephanie, and a few WWF title bouts, Taker's year was a poor one. He just looked knackered, really, and like he'd rather be anywhere else than on Raw by summer. Number 1, SmackDown instantly diluted Raw's appeal. SmackDown debuted as a pilot in April 1999, before becoming a full-blown accompaniment to Raw starting with the 26th of August episode. It was great for fans, more content in an era when people could not get enough. Yay! But the company had to stretch angles out across multiple shows rather than saving everything for Mondays, and that posed problems. Vince Russo, who was still the head writer, experienced some Taker-ish burnout of his own around this time, and he was infamously horrified when McMahon told him to hire a nanny to take care of his kids. His apathy towards the new Thursday night show was evident on screen too. From late August onwards, Raw took a bit of a nosedive in sustained quality before Russo left for WCW. It is obvious when watching each episode back-to-back today. 99 marked the first time Raw's stronghold on weekly WWF output had had been threatened, and nobody really seemed quite sure how to make it work. 25 years on though, the red brand is still somehow going strong. Have you enjoyed this list about the things we learned from rewatching 99 Raw? Then why not check out this 10 incredible WWE Attitude Era moments nobody ever talks about video too? Trust me on this, it is epic. Bye bye!